Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. You'll get 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Plus, enjoy access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with the welcome offer of 150,000 points, your business can soar to all new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
You know what's smart? Enjoying a fresh gourmet meal at home that you didn't have to cook. Meet Factor, your loophole in the laws of mealtime. Chef-crafted meals delivered with a tap, ready in just 2 minutes. You know what's even smarter? Treating yourself without cheating your goals. Factor is dietitian approved, chef prepared, and you plated. Pretty smart, huh? Refresh your routine and eat smart with Factor. Learn more at factormeals.com.
I knew it. Another Hurrdat Media production.
Welcome back. As a reminder, this is part 2, so make sure you guys go back and listen to part 1.
And then it says, Lively's intimate comfort with Baldoni continued as filming progressed. In June of 2023, after the alleged harassment and uncomfortable situations allegedly occurred, she even invited Baldoni to her trailer to rehearse while pumping breast milk. And then she's like, I'm just pumping in my trailer. We saw this. And it says, Lively was so close and comfortable with Justin that she freely breastfed in front of him during meetings. She took photos of him holding and soothing her crying baby in her penthouse. They laughed during late night writing sessions. All of these events took place after the alleged sexual harassment. Blake's accusations seemed to come out of the blue. She even knew his tea order. And then it says, out of respect for Blake Lively's privacy, this complaint does not include any images of her family. And like, that's so nice that he even did that.
Yeah.
And then there's like a text. Yeah, where it says, in route
we need to bring it out in front of the jurors. We will.
Yeah, exactly. So Justin says, en route to you, can I get you anything? And she says, no, all good. Thank you, though. I'm getting you a hot matcha. What is that, Chantal?
Matcha.
A hot matcha. What is that? You guys, I only drink black coffee, so I'm sorry.
Oh my God. I have before.
I know. I've only ever drank black coffee.
Like it's like the green ceremonial grade tea, and then you put it with milk and like water, you boil it.
Yeah. She said, I'm getting you a hot matcha. Do you know what Brandon likes? Matcha. So they're basically saying that she knows like even his tea order. And it says Lively herself set the tone for personal discussions on set, including what language was acceptable. For example, on one occasion, while filming a restaurant scene, Blake sat on the floor in painfully expensive shoes while discussing with a group of male cast and crew how sexy her shoes were. Blake had no issue using the word sexy herself, but apparently took note both times Baldoni said the word in her presence.
And like, wait, real quick too, it's like when I'm trying to read back to the book, like, yeah, of course, like all these characters are hot, but like never was it like, oh, I'm sexy. Like no one was ever referred to that. Yeah. And if it was anybody, it was Ryle. It wasn't Lily, and it wasn't the other guy.
Well, do you want to hear something crazy? It says this is all evidence in film footage captured between scene takes. So all of this is on camera.
Wow.
It says, though she was loose and relaxed in her speech on set, she was increasingly different in her demands she imposed on the production. She rewrote her own dialogue constantly, took it upon herself to make changes to other characters' lines, effectively rewriting the script day by day. This pattern of domineering interferences caused unending interruptions to the production process, leading to entirely unnecessary stress, chaos, and delays. It is well documented on film footage how frequently she requested changes and how at every turn Justin took her thoughts, and out of fear of repercussions from Blake and her allies, he consistently tried to accommodate them. And I get that because I would be the same way. I could tell that she will twist anything. So I would be like, to avoid this, I'm going to have to give her it. But then it's still, didn't. I mean, look where they're at now, right?
Yeah, I did nothing for him or them.
It says during labor strikes, Blake moved to seize absolute power. And then it says the Writers Guild of America went on strike. Production on the film halted temporarily on June 14th. So they literally only filmed for a month due to WGA picketing. The next day, the production was notified that WGA had agreed not to picket their set, allowing production to continue. But Blake was already gone and refused to return to the production immediately. She is so annoying.
Yeah,
It says
she really is.
Wayfair reworked the shooting schedule at great expense to film the scenes with the younger versions of the characters instead of footage requiring Blake. On June 27, 2023, production shut down entirely for the rest of the strike. The SAG-AFTRA strike soon followed, beginning on July 14th. To make the most of this time during the strike, Baldoni began editing the footage that had been captured to date, starting the director's process of turning footage into film. Blake expressed excitement over returning to shoot in the fall in New York. I'm sure she was like so happy because this is where she could, work out and exercise. So she was probably delaying as much as she can, making no mention of any discomfort or harassment that would be brought up only later after months of being apart on the day of the strike ended. Both before and during the strikes, Blake's eager involvement in the production took on more insistent and manipulative tone as she was asked for access to dailies and early cuts of scenes, both inappropriate and unorthodox requests. Dailies referred to a raw footage of what was filmed that day, including the many takes. This is not shared with the cast. So here is an email from Blake. Hey, would you mind giving me access to dailies? Again, actors do not get access to this. It says, and I'm curious which takes you liked of the scenes you showed blank. My manager blank flew out to visit set and leaves tomorrow AM. He heard all about it from Warren and I'd love to show him. I appreciate you may be too slammed right now to make this happen, but maybe someone else can facilitate. Thanks so much. And then this is from Blake. Hey, I hope you and your family are well. I watched the selects you sent. So great. I was so happy and energized. Such solid work from everyone on and off camera. It was really cool to see. We were working so quickly. There was never time to look back. So it was nice to revisit from an audience perspective. Please let me know who to reach out to get access to the full gallery of dailies. So he sent her the ones he liked and she's like, no, I want all of it. And she's like, I'm looking forward to seeing all that we have in the can. And of course, any scenes you cut together, I'd love to see. Hope you're having a good summer and hopefully a good edit. Will your assembly be done soon? Then it says Wayfarer, Justin, and another producer on the film were strategized about how to respond to Blake, which became common practice so as far not to trigger backlash from Blake. The text exchange below demonstrates adamant objections to giving Lively the dailies. Not only was it an inappropriate overreach, but there was a real concern of a simple ask such as rewriting a couple of scenes would turn into a complete takeover, like writing the script. So Justin sends this over to a producer and he goes, thoughts? And the producer says, I'm saying no, but check her contracts first, LOL. And then Jamie says, I was waiting for this producer to respond first. It's an absolute no for me as well. Respectfully, not sure best way to respond, being how delicate it is. The producer says, I think you can either not respond until tomorrow. And then the producer says, or say you need to talk to the team or just say, no, you're not comfortable with it. Jamie says, maybe we can let this be a Sony decision and you can respond with that for now. And then Justin says, thank you. Spoke to blank too. I think I'm going to say yes and send her a playlist of a bunch of good takes from different scenes that lasts 3 to 4 days. And then it says blank said no, LOL. And then producer said, we all said no and you're still going to send. And Justin says, no. Yeah, Justin says, no, she liked the idea of a playlist. No to access all the dailies. I wasn't clear in text. Producer says, okay, copy. See, now producers are kind of getting annoyed with Justin because Justin is, doing whatever Blake says. And Justin says, basically send her a playlist of what I showed her agent. And then if or when she responds and says, can you send me everything? That's what I'll say. I'm not comfortable with that as I haven't even seen everything. Blank believes that she will then start to edit the movie and tell me which takes to use if she has access to anything. And the producer says, I agree with that. And then Justin says, also, this is exactly how the writing process started. She asked if it was okay if she could take a pass at some dialogue, tweaks on the rooftop scene, and whatever. Then all of a sudden he says, just talk to Blake. She's in very good spirits and seems to be happy about this. A very nice conversation. Okay. Producer says, good.
But why is he taking it for good? Why is he taking that? Oh my God, thank God she's happy.
Well, because they're all scared of her.
I know. That's
and even Jamie Heath is like, good, great to hear. It's not like any of them are like, fuck this bitch, which I would be saying, oh my God, she is so lucky. I would be like,
thank God none of these people were saying crazy shit.
They weren't. They were so great. Even on text, I'd be like, bro, she's so annoying. We all know that we do that on text. And then it says, after consulting internally as to how to respond, Baldoni politely pushed back, explaining that it was much too early in the editing process to share much footage. So he says, hey, sorry for the slow response. Yes, family is good. Brutal being away for so long and happy we're finally together. Lots happening. All good things overall. Had to hire new editors who I adore. They are going through everything now. I'm so happy you feel energized by what you saw. Your performance is really, really beautiful. Stunning, actually. Regarding dailies, obviously, I want your input. That's why I sent the 5-hour playlist. So 5 hours and she's still asking for more. But at this point, it's too early for me to share all the dailies. I start my cut in early August.
And I wonder if she's actually even like listening to them and doing them. Like, what?
Yeah. It says, I start my cut in early August, given the new editors and still going through the rest myself. Also figured out our shooting plan as I have to cut and combine and find ways to scale down for budget. Once I'm physically in the edit and have touched scenes myself, I'd love to share with you. I hope you enjoy this time off with your family too. Talk soon. At that point, Blake reluctantly paid nominal lip service to the notion that Justin, the film's director, was entitled to the time and space needed for his director cut, but continued to push. So this is from Blake. I don't want to infringe on your time with your cut, of course. Don't feel the need to send me the cut scenes. I was just excited to see. Regarding dailies, none of the producers have had access to dailies. It's just you, ? Are you kidding? Like, are you kidding?
She's a
a
nightmare.
joke. And then Justin shared limited scenes with Blake, feeling uncomfortable all the while, yet he already knew that he had to bow down to Blake's demands in order to get out the film and its powerful message. Finally, he puts his foot down, sending Blake one final scene and then telling her he would not be sending any more cuts until he was finished. And Justin says, sorry, back-to-back meetings, all good. Love the excitement. I'm excited to show you when the time is right. No, not just me. Blank and Jamie have access to dailies, but not assemblies or cuts. He doesn't owe her an explanation of this. That's what's the craziest part about this. Like, she won't stop. Like, she's still pushing. And Justin on Blake's birthday says, happy birthday, Blake. Coincidentally, today is the last day of my edit as we are closing the room until we shoot again. It's been wildly successful. I'm so happy. You're fantastic in the film. I'm sending you over one of my favorite sections. I won't be posting or sending anything to anyone after this, but I'm excited to show you more in person when we come back. Please watch before Sunday as all Pix accounts get shut down on Monday until we're back up. Can't wait to hear what you think. Have an amazing day. And then it says the WGA strike ended on September 27th. And on November 9th, 2023, months before, Justin had made Lively's representative aware that they would continue pre-production in order to hit the ground running when the strikes ended. Lively and her lawyers had been busy having a plan during the strike. The same day the SAG strike ended, Baldoni, the studio, and producers were eager to resume production and said they were met with an email from Blake's lawyer who sent Wayfarer an unsettling and unexpected 17-point list of non-negotiable conditions that must be met before Blake would return to work. The stunning list was drafted for their apparent purpose of insinuating or outright claim that Baldoni, Heath, and others had engaged in sexually inappropriate conduct during filming. Nothing could be further from the truth.
It's the Smucker's Uncrustables podcast with your host, Uncrustables. Okay, today's guest is rough around the edges. Please welcome Crust.
Thanks for having me.
Today's topic, he's round with soft, pillowy bread.
Hey.
Filled with delicious PB&J.
Are you talking about yourself?
And you can take him anywhere.
Why'd you invite?
And we are out of time.
Are you really cutting me off?
Uncrustables are the best part of the sandwich. Sorry, Crust.
Are you looking for a partner that truly gets digital? At Herd at Marketing, we were born digital. It's not just what we do, it's who we are. From cutting-edge AI solutions to innovative advertising strategies, we lead our clients into the future with technologies that deliver real, measurable results. With over 15 years of lasting partnerships, we're proud to help businesses achieve their goals and maximize ROI every step of the way. If you're ready to take your marketing to the next level, visit herdatmarketing.com today. Herd at Marketing, where digital meets results.
So Blake Lively's counsel sends a lawsuit on November 9th. And to me, it seems Blake is salty that she wasn't getting edits. And here's Lively's counsel. They say with the tentative resolution, we are writing to address how to handle return on the set. It ends with us. It's no surprise to the film's producers that the experience of shooting the film has been deeply concerning on so many levels. The complaints of our client and others have been repeatedly conveyed and well documented throughout pre-production and photography. While we reserve all legal rights at this stage, our client is willing to forego a more formal HR process in favor of everyone returning to work and finishing the film as long as the set is safe moving forward. In order for our client to feel safe, returning to production, we are attaching a list of protections that will need to be guaranteed and observed by the film's producers. If the production is unwilling to uphold these protections, our client is prepared to pursue her full legal rights and remedies. Okay, It says this letter is not intended to constitute a full statement of all facts and circumstances relating to this matter. It's not intended to be, nor should it be construed as a waiver, release, or relinquishment of any of our clients' rights or remedies. Okay, at this point, you guys, they have only filmed for 3 weeks because in the end of May, something happens to Blake's son where he's sick and they have to cut filming again. So at this point, they've only filmed for 3 weeks. And all that we know that happened was we saw the text like in May and June, and she's like praising him, but we know what happened was the fat shaming. So after that, she is like probably telling all her friends this story, and she's probably making it sound a million times worse. And I guarantee there are people in her head saying, how dare he? How dare he? You need to do something about it. Don't you feel like that was probably what it was happening?
Yeah, I feel like what she really did is like sat there and thought of all these things that she can like come up with and hype up, and she's telling her side of the story, and I'm sure her side of the story looks crazy, like crazier than what really actually happened, like what we're seeing in this lawsuit. And of course everyone's gonna have her back on it.
Yeah. And it said that it was clear that Wayfair would have to sign the document as is, despite the falseness of the insinuations. The alternative was to lose millions of dollars, cost hundreds of people their jobs after they have been out of work for months, and destroy the relationship with Sony. Nonetheless, the demands themselves were agreeable. Indeed, some were already in place. To illustrate the distorted and downright fictional basis for the 17-point list of demands, each of them is addressed. Point 1, the intimacy coordinator. So she says that demands an intimacy coordinator be present at all times while Blake is on set. In fact, an intimacy coordinator had already been engaged during the first half of the production. So Wayfair took no issue with this request itself, despite both Blake and her attorney knowingly insinuating there was not one on or about March 20th, nearly 2 months before filming. Justin also met with an intimacy coordinator, and in early April of 2023, more than 6 weeks before production commenced, she was engaged. Blake was aware, as Justin had informed her in writing on about April 6th. Lively's attorney was also aware, as documented in May 8, 2023, emails between her and Wayfair's attorney, within which Wayfair provides her the intimacy coordinator approved nudity rider, followed by written confirmation of approval. And it says, this is from Wayfair's counsel. It says, I hope you're having a good weekend. Attached here is Blake's nudity rider for your review that has been approved by SAG Intimacy Coordinator. Apologies for the rush job, but please note we need to sign by tomorrow, reserving customary rights. I look forward to hearing from you shortly. So he's proving that they always had this. And then it says, do you have, and then Blake's counsel, do you have any written approval from the intimacy coordinator for the exhibit that you can share? And then they go and they show him the confirmation of, yes, here we do. Here we have it all. So although the presence of an intimacy coordinator is not a Screen Actors Guild rule, but rather a recommendation, Justin was eager to engage one from the start to ensure talent, himself included, felt safe during intimate scenes. It was also important to him that the intimacy coordinator be a woman to help craft sex scenes that would speak to the most female audience of the book and be written from a female gaze, a fact that Lively later mocked in both her complaint and her CRD complaint. So what do you think about her bringing this up when they had all of this?
Yeah, again, I think she's doing all of these things to get what she wanted from the beginning. And that's like her, whatever you said, is it called? The CPA, what is it called?
No, I know what you're talking. I don't even know. I have to go up, but
no, the thing for like the accredited,
PGA.
Yeah, the PGA. She's doing all these things to get control. And
there
the
was
only way you're going to get control is all these demands.
It says limiting review of intimate scene footage to those with essential business reason. And it says, we already do this. Like it's literally showing that they already do this. And it says the demand, as written, suggests nude or intimate scenes were filmed with non-essential personnel present. Later in the complaint, Lively alleges that during a scene, the birthing scene. So here was one of the sexual harassment claims, you guys. She was mostly nude with her legs spread. Okay, so later in the complaint, Lively alleges that during the birthing scene, she was mostly nude with her legs spread, wide in stirrups, and only a small piece of fabric covering her private, and that there were non-essential persons present. This allegation is knowingly false. To begin with, to describe Lively as mostly nude and naked from below the chest down is dishonest. Blake was wearing black briefs and a pregnancy suit that covered her midsection, and her top was covered by a hospital gown. Her legal complaint deliberately suggests she was wearing a small piece of nude fabric glued around her private area by stating this is generally what female actors use to provide some minimal privacy with just disturbing the shot, leaving the reader to believe that Blake was only wearing the small fabric. Blake was aware of this birthing scene as she was heavily involved in rewriting the script, and gave creative input for the specific scene, even against the director's creative vision. Moreover, film footage clearly demonstrates that the set was not chaotic, as she alleges, and only essential individuals like the film crew, talent were present for the scene and doing their jobs. Importantly, Blake knowingly and falsely alleges that the film's financer was present during these scenes and insinuates he was watching her nude, which he had no desire to do. They're basically shitting on her, saying this guy doesn't care to ever do that or watch you nude. You're wearing like a pregnancy fake bump. No one gives a shit. He was not, and then it says he was not even on set during the filming of that scene. He arrived later, merely stopping by for a brief moment during his busy business schedule, and was present during the filming of the scene in which Blake's character with a female OBGYN doctor, a scene in which she was fully clothed. And then there's also no spontaneous, and this was also another thing she claimed as like sexual harassment, that they had scenes involving physical touching that were improvised, no spontaneous improv. Chantal, how do you say it? I feel like you guys are. I don't even know, but it says, contrary to Blake's knowingly false claims, it was Blake who refused to meet with an intimacy coordinator to plan out their scenes, putting Baldoni in the awkward position to meeting alone with the intimacy coordinator. And they show the proof of him meeting with the intimacy coordinator, her saying that, again, we spoke on this before, so
it's like, for like, why though? Like, why do you think that he would want to do these things that you're claiming? Like, what? Yeah. He's in love with you. He likes you. He doesn't get anything from us. Like, it's just weird. It's like weird things. Like, oh, he wants to really touch you during filming, like to get hard. Like, why would he want to do this?
Yeah. Do you think like
is
you
he
saw
proven
that
as a sick person? Like, what is happening here?
Well, so that text message that we talk about of them at 2 a.m. Do you think that, I'm just like thinking, do you think that Ryan read those and was like, this is too much?
Yeah.
I do 100%. Too. I 100% think so too. 100%. And like, it scared her. And she's like,
and then she went the other way, and then she's like, oh yeah, I think he's actually like, he's being too like,
he's too much. He's making me uncomfortable.
He's too nice. He's too this. He's too that.
Yeah. It says, Lively later used circumstances created entirely by her to accuse Justin of insisting Lively to do uncomfortable or gracious scenes that were in fact proposed by the intimacy coordinator and by all accounts very typical ask of an actor performing sex scenes. This is well documented in handwritten notes Baldoni took during meetings with the intimacy coordinator and later read to Blake. And this is when Blake refused to meet with that intimacy coordinator. Blake and her recent allegations misrepresented these ideas as personal despite the fact that they were workshopping scenes for their characters. In support of what Lively positioned as for these demands, she alleges that Justin personally added graphic content, including a scene in which Miss Lively was to orgasm on camera. This is false. During a creative meeting, which Lively requested to take place in her home, Baldoni read to her his notes from the intimacy coordinator, including a suggestion that Lively's character orgasm during the scenes, similar to the book. Lively remarked, "Oh no, I'm too old for that." And Baldoni offered another suggestion and said, also, from his notes from the meeting with the intimacy coordinator, Baldoni then moved on. Lively's later complaint sheds light on what this point was, alluding to In Demand, which at the time was baffling, and upon review of the filmed evidence is based on a lie. Production was filming.
So anybody that has an orgasm on screen is sexual harassment?
Yeah, she's saying that because he like threw it in there and it wasn't originally on there. I don't know.
But I'm just saying it's just so silly. Like the claims are so crazy for something in show business.
It says one of the producers played music to set the mood so the characters could slow dance. Blake, consistently unable to take direction, insisted she really liked the idea of the characters constantly talking because, as she described, she and her husband like to keep talking and talking and talking. She's so awkward. Are you an actor or are you not an actor? Like, if you're an actor, then you just slow dance. Like, do what you're told.
This is not a you and your husband scene.
Right, Justin. And imagine if, so I don't know if we got to this yet, but he does say that, I don't know, something about his wife having an orgasm or something. There's something about that. But it's like, kind of like when she relies on, well, me and my husband do this. So why is it okay for her to say her husband does this about a slow dance scene? They're talking about a scene about orgasm. Like, yeah. I don't get it.
And your guys' relationship has been going on for a lot, like over a year now. And like, you guys were comfortable enough to be texting each other and like saying nice things about each other. You guys have formed a more than just like a friendship or more than just like a coworker relationship where maybe he felt comfortable to say that to you. And if you felt uncomfortable from the get-go, this would have been the biggest complaint from the beginning.
And so Justin disagreed about the talking and talking during slow dance. In an attempt to encourage her to take his direction, Justin offered up that he and his wife often just look into each other's eyes silently, to which she responded like sociopaths and laughed. Baldoni laughed and shook it off, which is kind of fucked up if that's really what they do, you know? Like it is.
Why is that weird when you're slow dancing? Like, what do you and your husband do?
She said they talk and talk and talk.
No, you. What do you and your husband do?
Oh, we like slow. I mean, we don't look each other in the eyes the entire time. Like we will. I guess we will, and we will talk, but sometimes, and then like, if
but
we're
this
not
is a movie. Like, why are we like shutting down every single thing? Like, why can't you just look in his eyes for like 3 minutes for the song?
Yeah. And then Baldoni, what do you do when you slow dance?
Yeah, I talked. I'm like, no, the whole time I'm like yelling at him, like, put your arm right here, put your ring right here, like everything, because he's
that's like Jacob to me while we're slow dancing.
Yeah, because like my husband will like grab me and like make it where I came and like move. So I'm like, put your hand here and like, put this here so I can move.
I don't like how Jacob slow dances with me either. And when I try to control it, he's like, I don't like that. I'm like, oh my gosh. So Baldoni laughed and shook it off while Lively once again started talking about how she and her husband can't not talk. I guess maybe we can agree with this, but like, I mean, if I'm an actor, I'm going to do what's told.
Yeah, Baldoni, like maybe, but I guess from her point of view, she's probably wanting to make it more realistic as possible. But like, it's okay. It's okay just to take the direction.
Yeah, you're acting. We love this.
What it is not sexual harassment for him saying, "Let's look each other's eyes."
Yeah. It says, Baldoni says, I think that's cute, and complimented the couple, to which Lively responded, I think it's more than cute. Okay, damn. Like if he goes against you, you're mad. If he agrees with you, you're mad.
Yeah, she's like scared. She's trying to like overhype her relationship.
Like, Jesus Christ.
You're not the only one that talks, girl.
It says Lively continued arguing and tried to direct him for the scene while they were supposed to be in character filming the scene. And you guys remember there's a scene that was viral on TikTok of Blake trying to direct how Justin should be. And I wonder if that was a slow dancing scene.
Oh, when she like grabs him and she grabs him by his waist.
Yeah. Ugh, she's so aggressive. It says, at some point, Heath and another producer, irritated, called Justin aside to express they can't capture the intended shot because Blake wouldn't stop talking. He was instructed to somehow get her to stop. While there was a brief verbal exchange, Justin heeded the instruction.
She did not like the power. She did not like this guy being.
I don't think she liked that the actor was directing.
Yeah, she did not like that he could tell her what to do. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Heeding the instruction of their assistant director and producers, continued to try to bring them back into character as they were acting in the scene. Blake continued to break character and speak as herself rather than as Lily, which was extremely confusing for Justin, who was trying to balance directing the scene within his artistic vision while also acting in character while filming and trying to get Blake to do the same. Blake apologized for the smell of her spray tan and body makeup. Justin responded, "It smells good," and continued acting, slow dancing as he believed his character would with his partner, which requires some amount of physical touching. Blake took them out of character again and began to joke about Baldoni's nose, which he laughed off and joked in turn. Even as Blake joked that he should get plastic surgery. Lively incorrectly alleges that this scene was filmed without sound. Baldoni was wearing a microphone, and the entire exchange is captured on camera. Check that, bitch. Yeah. Any suggestion that this scene was filmed in any manner other than pure professionalism by Baldoni is unequivocally countered with actual evidence. Her allegation of sexual harassment is a documented and knowingly fabricated lie. So what she was saying also, she made this a big deal in her complaint, was that he told her she smelled good when she had spray tan. But like, I don't get it. Again, like if you're sitting here telling me, first off, spray tan does smell good. But if you're telling me like, I'm sorry I smell because it was spray tan.
Spray tan smells good.
I think a spray tan smells good.
I'll throw up.
Oh, I think it smells good. But if you're telling me that and you're like, sorry, I smell like crap, I spray tan and I think it smells good, like how is that me sexually harassing you?
I know, like all these weird things, like maybe they could be a little weird, okay? Maybe we think like, okay, that's weird. Why do you say that? Like, but to go on to the level of saying sexual harassment is crazy.
It says, moreover, it was Blake who engaged in unchoreographed kissing scenes. One scene again captured on camera exhibits Blake pulling Baldoni in to kiss her. It is clear Blake was initiating this was unchoreographed. In one take, she pulled Justin in and kissed him once, in another twice, and the number of kisses entirely initiated by Blake changed at her whim. Justin, as a professional actor who, among other roles, played the lead's love interest in television, Jane the Virgin, for 5 years, is like most actors accustomed to rehearsing or filming scenes multiple times, often with variations, without needing permission while in character. While Blake now takes issue with any improvisation Justin, as Ryle, may have allegedly initiated while in character, Justin treated their relationship on camera as professional, each playing their part, each during their job. If no one was supposed to improvise, Baldoni would have no way of knowing based on Blake's own actions. Blake demonstrated again and again that this was a normal and acceptable part of filming romantic scenes. Blake also complains that there was inappropriate and improvised kissing during the first period of filming before the strike breaks. But in fact, the only 2 kissing scenes that were filmed during the initial filming period were both scenes that included kisses as written in the script. These kissing scenes were not improvised. And it says that, and they like do like a side note where it says Blake alleges that Justin inappropriately commented on her physical appearance. It was the other way around. So that does kind of piss me off. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, no, I know.
Because it's like, here you are improvising. If he ever did that, you would literally.
Do we think she has all these text messages that he has? Like with other people? Like, do you think she has text messages of like her complaining to Colleen about things or her complaining about other things to other people? Because if she does not, she literally has no claim to feeling uncomfortable and doing all these things.
I don't think she has that, to be honest. I think Justin, when he was like overly nice, and we've met people like Justin where they're like too nice and we're like, is this shit real? But like, I do feel like he's very authentic, where we'd be like me and you will look at you, we'll be like, ay, por favor, like that's too much. And she probably did that with Colleen.
Yeah.
I don't know. So then there is also no physical touching of Lively or comments on her physical appearance except in connection with character. And then it says, to be clear, none of the named parties ever touched Blake when it wasn't a character, especially not in the manner suggestion. When Justin and Wayfair clearly agreed that coworkers should respect physical space, Blake's constant confusion of reference to her character as played by Lively as opposed to Lively herself became problematic and interfered with production. This was caused because of Blake. Then they talk about like the sexier stuff. While on one hand, Blake accuses Baldoni of making comments about her appearance, on the other hand, she makes derogatory comments about his appearance. So they really do point out that. Then it says no discussion of personal experiences with sex or nudity, including as it relates to conduct with spouses or others. When Baldoni was faced with this demand, he was utterly confused. By the time that Blake and Justin were developing their intimate scenes together, they had developed a friendly relationship and were communicating often over text message. So Blake felt comfortable expressing herself and appeared to do so freely. She took photos of Justin holding and comforting her newborn in her home. Baldoni filmed her uncontrollably laughing with him as they rehearsed late into the evening. Okay, so Ryan Reynolds for sure saw this and went fucking off.
100%. There's no way he didn't.
Yeah, so he's like
confused. And there was so much time with the pause that like there's probably so many discussions about this.
Yeah. Well, and so here's the orgasm thing. So it says, in response to a proposal from the intimacy coordinator that Baldoni's character Ryle not orgasm after he satisfied Lily, Blake remarked, "I'd be mortified if that happened to me." Personalizing the character's sexual act, Justin, following Lively's lead in what he understood to be an attempt to connect and develop their characters, remarked, "Those have been some of the most beautiful moments between me and my wife." Then they moved on. Okay. So I get that though, because she is like saying that would be so uncomfortable for me. She also talks about like what her and her husband do slow dancing. They're talking about this orgasm scene that the intimacy coordinator is saying that they should do. And he's saying that was a beautiful time between me and my husband or my wife. Why are you laughing?
It's just because it's awkward. It's awkward.
But like they both
not
do
sexual
it.
harassment, just awkward.
Yeah. In another instance, as Blake and Baldoni were developing their scenes, Blake said, "I don't want it to look like porn," and then offered up that she's never seen porn in her life, a very personal fact. Baldoni complimented her and said, "That's wonderful," because unfortunately, he was first exposed to it when he was 10 years old and struggled with a porn addiction for a period of his life. He writes this openly about this in his book, Boys Will Be Humans, written for young boys, and Man Enough, written for men, addressing pornography as a Social problem. Anyone who knows or has done research on Baldoni would have knowledge of this, and it can in no way be characterized as inappropriate, especially after opening the door to the discussion by disclosing something highly personal. At every turn, Justin was entrapped. Moreover, Heath, who had nothing to do with this exchange and has never had a porn addiction or even mentioned porn in Lively's presence, was falsely and knowingly lumped into this accusation. Blake continued with an outrageous and knowingly false suggestion that she was shown pornography or naked images of Heath's wife on set. This allegation knowingly and maliciously misrepresents an instant when in connection with the birthing scene, Heath, at the director's request, attempted to show Blake a video that demonstrated the director's vision of the scene. This video, which ultimately was not shown to Blake, even though she stated she'd like to see it later as she was eating, is by all accounts beautiful. Since Blake wanted to see it later, what she saw was the first image at the start of the video, which shows Heath's wife himself and their baby after his wife gave birth at a home, a natural birth. To characterize this image that captures such a beautiful moment with their newborn baby with the consent of his wife for the purpose of the film as a naked photo or worse, porn, is deplorable. Nonetheless, Blake did not object and asked to see the video after she ate, having managed to convince the director to write and shoot the scene according to her specifications. I just want you to know, if I was Heath's wife, I would find Blake and I would smack the shit out of her.
100%.
Just so you know, if she ever said some image like that was porn and try to use me as a part, like an image, like a beautiful image that like, you're lucky that we even shared with you and you agreed to see it.
And a lot of these things were conversations that both were sharing. Like everyone was sharing their own experiences. And like she took what they had said and made it a big thing.
Yeah. No, I would literally slap the shit out of her. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry if like my intense ways are popping out right now, but you're not about to ever compare a beautiful thing like that to porn ever in your life. Like, how dare you? And then they talk about like the whole Blake, no one entering without her, without like her permission. And they say, we only like, here's the proof of us, only entering one. And then one day she was like breastfeeding and then they were like covering the top of her thing. Everything was covered. She claims that Heath like tried to look at her. And then he goes, I'm so sorry. Like, I did not try to look at you. I'm sorry. I really didn't realize. And she goes, I know you weren't trying to cop a look. And they moved on. It's like, do you think Blake is as hot as she thinks she is?
I do think she's really pretty.
I don't know. I think that she thinks she's really pretty. And that's really, like, oh, like she has blonde hair and like blue eyes. And maybe she thinks that's like the prettiest thing in the world, but I don't understand it. Anyways,
No.
I do think people with blonde hair, blue eyes, I think all kinds of people are pretty though. So like, I just feel like she thinks that she's so damn pretty and I'm just very confused about it. And then it was like, they're talking about like more about the intimacy coordinator. And it says, when working with an actor who may take time to sign the main actor agreement, it is customary to send a certificate of engagement to protect the copyright of the film. Wayfarer negotiated the terms of said certificate of engagement, but though it was approved by Lively's counsel, never received a signed copy. And then here's Lively's counsel. It says, I hope you enjoy the 4th of July. Very confused at what's going on here. Escrow was made in good faith. We still don't have a signed COE that has been confirmed for almost 2 months. Also, we still don't have the SAG start paperwork, which has been outstanding. Oh, and this was Wayfarer's counsel. I'm sorry. That said that. And then it says months later, the demand for nudity rider became part of the 17 demands and presented as if Wayfarer and not Lively, who was the cause of its absence. And they show that in July, Wayfarer is like, where the hell is this? So here they are putting this in the 17 thing to make him look bad. But the company was asking about this in July.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And then
are you 2 parts, by the way?
Yeah, we are. It says on April 26, 2023, weeks before principal photography of the film commenced, Wayfarer sent crew a COVID-19 protocol update. And so I guess like she wanted entitled to personal representative on set.
What does that mean?
I don't even know. Oh, so she wanted COVID protocols to be happening.
In 2023?
Yeah.
What a joke. Sorry, don't kill me, guys.
Yeah. So then it says, I'm just trying to see, like, there's just like so much stupid stuff that she's saying. Oh, okay. So they mutually agreed for Sony representative to be required on set. Wayfarer's like, bet, like, please, like, okay, let's get that person on set. And then they just like they didn't want to like lose jobs. They didn't want to push back on her. They just wanted to get this done. And then it says, Let's see. Wayfair to use Lively approved body and stunt doubles for intimate and sexual. Okay. No filming nude or sex scenes of any actor's portrayal of Lily except per nudity rider, and no use of prior nude scenes without nudity rider. It says this was an overstep, an attempt to expand Blake's right to her own nudity rider to assert control of the nudity rider for another actor. The actor portrayed young Lily while seeing this as infringing on the young actor's independent right to her own nudity rider. Wayfair once again was forced to agree while informing Lively that young Lily had already filmed her intimate scenes. Ew, like she's even trying to control that. Okay, you guys, here's something that like really pissed me off. Okay, it says, so Blake put this, she put all day players must be hired through talent agencies, not personal connections. This point appeared to relate to Blake's misleading claim that Justin inappropriately cast a personal friend to play the OB during Lily's birth scene. Justin casting an experienced actor who happens to be a friend is no different than Blake's sister, who was cast because she is Blake's sister. The actor portraying the OG is an award-winning Shakespearean trained actor with an MFA in acting from UCLA, and in addition to appearing on numerous hit television shows, has toured nationally with a Tony Award-winning acting company and attended Oxford's acting program on full scholarship. His accolades and performances speak for themselves. Lively's current complaint states that she was alarmed when Baldoni introduced him as a friend and allowed him to play this intimate role in which the actor's face and hands were in close proximity to her private, categorizing the experience as invasive and humiliating. It
you
is
had black briefs on.
Exactly.
This is a scene. This is acting.
Yes. And it is Lively's suggestion that a highly trained and experienced actor would have an unseemly interest in being close proximity to her nearly nude private, which as previously established was not nude or exposed. That is inappropriate, invasive, and humiliating to the actor. To reiterate, Blake knowingly made a false statement that only a small piece of fabric covered the private during the birth scene. In fact, Blake was wearing the briefs. Once again, Wayfair agreed despite being wholly offended by this accusation. And then it says all hands meeting before production resumed. And then there is an email from Sony, and it says, "Hey Jamie, took a look at the following." So Sony is saying they took a look at the 17 thing. Okay, it says, "No change in my mind from what we discussed last evening. Items 1 through 10, 15, and 17 are basically just yes, of course. Interestingly, I'm surprised that you all don't already have a negotiated nudity rider in place, given the subject matter and content in the book. Or am I just misinterpreting her comment? Items 11 through 13, I'd want to hear more about what is underlying and what she's hoping to accomplish, respectfully, of course, in the hope that some combination of the studio represents and the empowerment of Alex, presumably, whatever that means. Again, I'm hoping for clarification might mitigate the need to engage an additional A-level producer. Items 14 is another question mark, since it sounds like she improved the engaged stunt double. And for item 16, I guess I'm confused about this one as well, and why the engagement of day players has found its way on the list. Perhaps some of the upcoming sensitive scenes involve day players extras, and this is an attempt to manage the perception of their professionalism. Anyways, again, another clarification point. Further, as discussed, overall, the tone of this response has to be part denying the underlying insinuation allegations, but doing so in a way that doesn't inflame or escalate further, since most of what's on this list, Wayfair is acknowledging and addressing. And of course, any unease on her part is a paramount concern to the production, and you are all committed working with her to ensure that she's comfortable with the plan and execution of the next few weeks in order to completely photograph. What do we think, Chantal Abba?
Yeah, I think that's fair, but I also think they thought she was crazy.
Yeah.
Like they're just scared. Like they're just dotting their I's and crossing their T's.
Yeah. It says that before returning to production, Blake had even more script notes and changes beyond what was, done. And
yeah, like if it was about what you were feeling uncomfortable and feeling sexually harassed, like why are you still doing things for the book and the scene in the movie?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to just be done with it?
At this point, Justin said,
you.
Well,
like,
yeah, exactly. Because she's the narcissist. At this point, Justin's like, it even says, at this point, Justin had enough. And he said that he has no energy left to fight. And that he declared he was wavering the white flag and submitting to her. He's going to give her 98% of what she wants because he is the victim in all of this.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And she's not.
And if you were, like, I really do think, like, I mean, I don't know how like all victims act, but like I feel like if that was you were feeling like so like disgusted and distraught and uncomfortable and all these things that you're claiming, like you would just want to be done with this film and move on. You would not want anything to do with it. You would not be wanting to do all these things. Like you would not be creating more noise than you should. You would just want to be done with it. And then you could do your stuff behind the scenes.
Not be in his face even more and keep demanding stuff from him anymore. It's funny because when the whole Harvey Weinstein thing came out and she was like, I mean, I never experienced that, but I don't see how he would be able to get away with this or this could continue if this was actually true. Bitch, what? So what are you doing? And
not funny about the Harvey Weinstein stuff, but it's just like, yeah.
So here's an email from Justin Baldoni to members of the production team. Attached is a revised script with the below notes. And then he says, I added blank in here to have their eyes so he can digest at the same time as you. He says, I spent a little part of the last few days trying to figure this out. Everyone knows how I feel about all this and how angry I am that Blake has taken over our film and somehow rewrote a movie we spent years developing, writing, and funding. So yes, I'm furious and sad, but I will continue to get back up with the goal of getting us to finish this line. I have come to terms with the fact that the only way out is through. I am waving the white flag. I'm submitting. I'm going to give her 98% of what she wants. I'm sure none of us have the energy to fight anymore. The team who has been working their asses off need a shooting script on January 2nd. He said the big issues are going to be intimacy, how and what we're shooting for those scenes, and how the script is going to be presented to her and with what notes. To the end, we all need to get on the phone and talk through it at the risk of not meeting her standards could be likely used against me. It already has.
I would die after all this having to shoot like a makeout scene with her. I would literally be crying.
Yeah. And then a producer responds and they thank him for the breakdown, especially considering the circumstances. Everyone's agreeing with him. That's all we're saying is everyone literally agreeing with him. And then it says like there's a part where, Blake demanded more things and here's two members of the production team. Hey, buddy, unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to be able to send anything until Thursday night or so. I'm not quite sure because they were supposed to send it by January 2nd. And Blake wanted to see things and all that. It says, I'm not quite sure how to handle, but I'm doing these small rewrites and I'm going to be sending back to the producers and all of you. And then they're going to send it to Blake. And then we will be in negotiation for what the final script looks like. So this is like the shit that he was dealing with.
So crazy.
It says that meanwhile, the day before the commencement of the second phase of filming, Blake casually reached out to Justin together with Heath and the film's producers to meet in her home. This is Blake return to production demands required a meeting before filming. On the day before filming, Justin Heath, a Sony representative, the film's first assistant director, and two producers arrived with production binders in tow, excited to discuss details of resuming production. But Blake and her husband had a very different meeting in mind. Blake brought Reynolds as her chosen representative. Notably, she did not request any attendees from her union, the Screen Actors Guild. Together, Ryan and Blake blindsided the rest of the group with a list of grievances read out loud by Lively that were as troubling as they were fictional. Reynolds then launched into an aggressive tirade berating Baldoni and what Baldoni later described as a traumatic encounter. As Baldoni later said, he had never spoken that way in his life. Does Ryan Reynolds have like an anger issue? What the hell's wrong with him? He has berated this man multiple times.
Maybe.
They say that
he would, honestly.
They say that the Sony rep, we talked about this, left the meeting in shock and they regret till this day that they didn't step in. So, okay, they end up like agreeing to whatever, all the stuff. Let me skip this. And it says the parties agreed to implement and follow the protections for return and on January 5th and concluded on February 9, 2024. The film has been a resounding success. And so this is where I'm starting to think Blake Lively does have a crush on Justin or she's just an asshole. So they talk about the 10-week editing period for directors to privately edit. And we've already spoken on this. Blake requested through that the producer she added on, Todd Black, to join in, knowing it's unheard of. But in the aftermath of everything that's happened, everything that she's accused of, like they're going to just be like whatever and do whatever she wants. So they agreed to have her, to give her access to the editing bay for 2 days. The lawsuit says, quote, notably, despite her allegations that Baldoni made her uncomfortable, Lively insisted on working closely with him through this process. And then here's a text exchange between Justin and Blake. Okay, so here is Justin. Good morning, Blake. Blake and I had a great chat the other day. He let me know you'd like to come into the edit before you leave for your film, and I think it's a great idea. I agree that we work well together. And with all that you put into this film, I completely understand wanting to give notes and have an input before you leave for your other movie. With that said, I started my cut on Thursday, so tomorrow will be day 3. The movie is currently all over the place. I need a few weeks to get it into some sort of shape to even present to you. What I would love to do is bring you on the 18th and have us work work together until you leave. Did I hear the first week of April? Then once you're in Italy, as things progress, you can jump on any free days or there's a long wait between scenes. I'm also happy to send you progress scenes with any big changes that are made, as well as any things that are timed during a cut. For me, the editing process is the time to try things and throw it all against the wall to see what sticks. It's my favorite part of the process. So once you take off, we can just keep you in the loop. So this is someone who's over communicating, who is scared shitless, and who's like crossing their T's and dotting their I's.
Yeah, 100%. He knows at this point.
She says, hey, thank you for the note. I appreciate it. I'd love to be in the passenger seat with you as soon as possible. I don't need you to formally present anything. I understand you've just seen the first assembly and have a mountain ahead of you. I'll be invaluable to you in recall alone as you put together what you're looking for. I've also been rewatching all the dailies because at this point she has all the fucking dailies. Tons of gems. The sooner we put our heads together, the better. Very excited to dive back into work. Let me know. Then he says, hey, Blake, I hear you. I do know how helpful you've been and will continue to be. I do need some time to get sorted with all my editors and wrap my head around the film itself. I will reach out to you at the end of the week to let you know the progress I made so we can figure out the best time for you. And after this, he puts out the text that he had with the editors. We've shared that on the other episodes, so I'm not going to share it again. But basically, the producers and the editors, they're just so pissed. They're so over it. And I don't blame them. And it says later in March 2024, Blake continued pushing for her demands as what had been a 2-day collaboration extended into 10, and Lively sought to work alone in the editing bay without Baldoni so that she would have full control. Though Baldoni incorporated 7 pages of her notes into his edit at the very start and consistently kept her involved in every edit, despite having no obligation to do so, Lively was not satisfied with merely collaborating with the director. She wanted to be the director and see her own creative vision of the film come to life. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, it's the same. It's kind of like the same we've been hearing.
Yeah, we just continue to see texts of Justin bending over backwards for Blake for months. And this is where it gets pretty sad. Okay. So this is where, he's like, so are we keeping the thrust? He says, it's all about control. He's talking about
he was saying that finally.
Yeah. So it says, like editor says, so are we keeping the thrust? Another editor says, I'll drink to that. Of course, I was planning on drinking anyways. Justin said that's going to end up being Blake's call. Honestly, if you can get her to keep it in. And in the movie, when I get back, she has approval of this scene. And then editor 2 says, even for young Lily, editor 1 says, I was just thinking the same thing. And then Justin says, when she claimed she was unsafe, she redid the nudity rider to get approval of young Lily too. The editor is like, got it. And it's like, happy Sunday, waiting for my plane. Blake is watching the cut tonight. We start around noon tomorrow. I'll check in with you guys when we wrap everything up. These are just the editors. And then he's like, okay, great. Should we all chat? Of course, Jamie would like to, join. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just all sad to me because they're like dealing with all this bullshit and she's like completely taken over. And this is
she doesn't care.
There's no control over her.
This is what she wanted from the beginning. She literally, you guys, like, it's like this, it's an orchestrated plan and she got it.
It says that in April that she now threatens Sony. And so here's Sony executive.
And now this is April 2024.
Yeah. This is May of 2024.
This is almost like 2 years in the making.
It says, Jamie, I have Blank on here too. Blank has gotten Blake to approve the trailer we want with our narration, the chair kick, the bruise, etc. And Blake is calling Taylor to approve the song. Taylor again.
There was a song of Taylor in there.
It says she, of course, just reached out saying she's asking for time with Blank, her editor. We know it was conditioned on signing contract, but asking if you will reconsider so Blank can release his trailer and Blank does not change her mind, recalling Taylor Swift. And then Jamie, he says, I'm available to talk on the phone. Call me if you're free. Sony executive says, you guys don't want to play ball. You're going to delay and greatly hurt the movie. Good luck. So that is only if you want to make this date. We are going to need a push, finish director cut, and have multiple previews done. So even now, Sony is like, don't play ball with this. Like, come on, you go, and like scaring them by saying, like, this is what could happen.
Yeah.
It says Baldoni and the film's original editors were not even allowed to see Blake's cut, even if it's just to see how much of their work.
Which is bullshit. Like, not okay.
Yeah, even if it's just how much of their work. Yeah, even if it's just to see how much their work has been replaced, still believing that in a sane world, despite Lively's continued extortion, an actress would never be allowed to do what she's doing and create and release his cut of the film. He assumed that Blake's edits would simply supplement his work. Thus, Justin continued refining his director's cut, but as Lively threatened to refuse to promote the film or approve any related marketing materials such as trailers, posters, and social media posts, doomsday.
Real quick, because sometimes movies will do like a director, like they'll come out with the second edition director's cut. Like, could he ever do that?
He could do that. Yeah, he could.
He should. He really should come out.
Everyone's been telling him to do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like, I would love to support that and watch that.
They then talk about how Blake replaced the film's editors, one used by Ryan and the composer. We already spoke on this on the other episodes. So you know how Blake insisted she has her own cut and Justin has his own cut? Well, we see in the document, it shows in key demo over 20% higher in the excellent rating and 15% higher in the definitely recommends. And one of the editor is all confident like, hey, Justin, we're good. Your cut wins. Your cut killed her cut. Another editor said the only group she went up with was the excellent category, which was all men, and they are absolutely not our audience. That's only because they focus more on the movie or probably on herself, and men like to look at Blake Lively. Men are such pigs. This is like an editor saying that. Despite Blake's promise, she said it's her cut or Colleen and herself would refuse to promote the film. Baldoni was forced to choose between killing the film and his own career by insisting on his own creative vision and rights or putting out a version of film that's and here, Chanel, this brings me back to Colleen where she's like, my biggest fear is someone makes it a rom-com, and that's exactly what Blake did.
Mm-hmm. Especially like that scene, like too, like it's so funny because like a lot of this was like that the main like rooftop scene, and like look how they really did try to make it this like funny, sexy scene, and she kept trying to make her character sexy and his character sexy, and it's like all about this sexiness. It's like no,
yeah. They say that Sony did kind of get Blake to take some scenes of Justin's and put it on his, but he never knew for sure because he was in the hospital and it was never like officially communicated to him, but whispers reached him. And there's some text messages here. Let's see. And it's Justin. It's saying, I'm so sorry. I love and adore you both. I will fight for you in your recognition and sing your praises in the end. This will all work out. It's painful, but it'll be okay. We can rest knowing that we have created a beautiful work of art together. And yet I'm so sorry. And this is while he's in the hospital. And these editors are like, we got you. Like, we love you. All this craziness. It's going to be worth it. And things of that sort. And, he's going through it. Like he has an infection in his spine. It's pretty serious. Great doctors caught it early. My body is done. Too much stress. We'll be in the hospital probably until Tuesday. Then IV antibiotics, a PICC line for 6 weeks, which means can't travel. And they're like, damn, like this is all happening, because of the stress that he's going through. And then now here's Sony executive emailing Jamie again. Hey, we had a very successful weekend at Book Bonanza. Oh, by the way, they didn't let Justin go to that. And the fans love the book and art displayed at the event. We would like to release the art as our second teaser poster for domestic distribution since it has already been released in many markets. It only makes sense to use it domestically as well. We'd love to start printing tomorrow to get it into theaters. However, this version does not have Justin Baldoni's a film by credit, so we would need to waive that. Please let me know if this is approved. So they're, doing what she wants. Yeah. So she insisted on, he wasn't even allowed to review the final cut before it was shown to the world, which is so sad. And I don't know. I just feel so bad for this guy and what he's gone through.
And like one thing I'll say, like, I know it's not about Taylor, but like Taylor is so about like creators and writers and directors and all those things. And I swear, you guys, I'm not even just saying this. If she truly, really knew and not from her front side, she would not be okay with any of this.
You really think that?
1000%. She's all about, giving props to people who need it. She always is fighting for the writers, like especially writers. She's always fighting.
So if I see a picture with Taylor and Blake in the next 6 months, the next 3 months, I'm going to be like, Taylor, you're a loser.
No, because she's again, you have to take it from the side of a friend. Like you're gonna back your friend up no matter what they're saying and how they're saying it, and you're not gonna sit there and read his 190-page lawsuit. You're not.
I feel like no one is backing. Actually, I would if there was like a lawsuit against me.
Right now, if I told you right now that this guy did this to me, and I'm telling you all my things, you're not gonna go read his lawsuit.
Yes, I would. Why would I not read it?
Like you're in the wrong.
I'd be like, what is this motherfucker saying? And then I would come to you and I would be like, bro. Yes, I would. And I feel like you would do the same thing. That's such a lie. Okay.
I would say that he's manipulating. He's manipulating what I did and what I didn't do.
It says, despite the personal feelings, he redirected his thoughts to focus on the one positive. The film, years in the making, was very close to being seen. And even though it was no longer his film, he prayed for the possibility that the film could still make the impact he intended when he first reached out to Colleen Hoover in 2019. After all this, Blake continued being dirty. And this is where the PGA mark comes in. She demanded the PGA mark. So like, even after putting him through all that she's putting him through, now she's saying, I need a PGA mark. I really do believe she wants that because of Scarlett Johansson. And I don't care what you say. The other cast members also end up unfollowing Justin, creating this false impression that Baldoni had done something wrong. On information and belief, Lively induced the other cast members to shun Baldoni in an early attempt to give fans the impression that Baldoni had committed these crazy sins, something so bad that no one would ever want to take photos with him or have him around. Lively was leaving what she had earlier referred to as crumbs, a social media strategy she had learned from a close celebrity friend to give fans enough to allow them to come to their own conclusions, thereby launching an army of detectives that are on information and belief. Lively hoped would turn against Justin. The unfollowing of Baldoni by cast members and even the author of the book, who he had a long-standing relationship, was done without warning or any communication from them, in stark contrast to the warm praise and appreciation cast members had until that point always showered on him. For example, Isabella Ferreira, cast as young Lily, exchanged grateful texts with Baldoni during and after the filming stint, which included a number of scenes involving intimacy. The texts between Justin and Isabel are now released, aka Young Lily. So let's go all the way down to look at her text messages. So she obviously keep in mind, remember, she filmed the scenes with Justin when Blake had left and refused to film. So he said, "You did awesome today. Happy to be working with you." And she said, "Thank you so much. I'm excited. Thank you for being a great director and being so wonderful to work with already. Let me know whenever you need me for anything." He's like, "So kind, more to come. You're going to kill it." She says, "Hey, just got my film developed from when we're shooting. Here's the sweet pic. I also have to say thank you so much for the incredible experience on the first film. I still can't shake the feeling of it all because it truly was life-changing for me. You're such a wonderful, smart, sincere director. You created such a comfortable, safe space for me to feel like I could fully step into this role. I couldn't have asked for a more welcoming environment. It will still stay with me for the rest of my life. See you soon, whether in the fall or later, and hoping you're doing well." This is literally what the young Lily is saying. She's basically saying everything opposite of what Blake Lively has claimed.
Yeah.
Which is like, that goes to show you everything. That literally tells you there. But yeah. And she ended up unfollowing too.
Which is really sad.
It is. Like, I would feel like sad about myself.
I feel more betrayed for that than anything else.
I know. And then it says that it became clear that Lively was laying the groundwork to explain away her theft of the film and exile Justin. Presumably, she was concerned that her shocking conduct would be frowned upon if it became widely known. Justin had no intention of ever making this information public. In fact, as co-star of the film, both he and his studio, who co-financed the film, had already spent millions of dollars, had every reason to want the film to succeed. Any suggestion otherwise is illogical. Justin promoted the film as originally intended, gave Blake full credit, praise, had done everything in his power at every painful turn of making this film with Blake to ensure that the film succeeded. He wanted to move on. Blake, however, would not let it go. Then we find out Ryan told Justin's agency to drop him. They talk about the marketing plan, which I find interesting because it was created by Sony and agreed upon Blake, but Justin Baldoni never agreed or signed it. And there's a section where it says what to avoid. And I want to go to it because I thought this was so interesting. Because, obviously they send
the marketing plan to what to
avoid.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's so interesting.
And this is from Sony, right?
Yes. It says what to avoid. Focus more on Lily's strength and resilience as opposed to describing the film as a story about domestic violence. Empowerment is not just about standing up to adversity, but also about having the power to overcome within oneself and grow from it and develop agency to shape the future. Avoid talking about this.
But so they're saying so that like what Justin was doing is that what they didn't want to see?
Yes.
Okay.
Avoid talking about this film that makes it feel sad or heavy. It's a story of hope. Avoid talking about the film being representative of every woman's story. There are many stories of domestic violence, and this is one perspective that is inspired by Colleen Hoover's own experience growing up. I really do feel like Blake had her hand on this because this.
Yeah, it sounds like she did for sure because like they're saying everything that she wanted to kind of portray and everything that Justin didn't want to portray.
Yeah. And then it says only if
things like if hope is a good thing too, but like the way you're going to talk about it is by describing domestic violence and how you can get to the level of hope.
And here's another thing, and this is why I think Hollywood's so corrupt and they're so full of shit. But it says only if asked any questions about the story not being authentic representation of domestic violence, you can say this is just one perspective that is inspired by Colleen Hoover's own deeply personal story of growing up in Texas, which we've never heard Blake say. And then any questions about the lack of diversity in the cast, like so they're so full of shit. And it says just so that they could be politically correct. It's like, no, why didn't you just diversify the cast? It says we have such a wonderful cast who all bring something unique in telling this powerful story of one woman learning to be an agency over her future. I'm so proud to be part of an incredible group of women who just happen to make this film that's inspired by Colleen Hoover's own deeply personal story of growing up in Texas. Like, do you see how they pivot?
Yep.
On the question? And then it says, overall guidance, keep in mind that the journalists only use a small portion for their final pieces. So we need to provide sound bites, at most 2 or 3 sentences. While it ends with us as an emotional, complicated story, it's also about hope and breaking free. Digging too deep into personal stories will not only take time, but they will not be picked up by the media and they will go unused. Except that's all the media picked, is what Justin Baldoni was saying. They did pick up, though, what she was saying too, but to criticize her.
Because what she was saying was like what did not feel right to anybody, did not feel right to anybody that read the book, did not feel right to anybody that was excited about the film.
Yeah. And then it says, like, when Justin was talking, he's like, so I was thinking about the response to this weekend. I feel like what we should do is make sure to emphasize the voices of the survivors. It's going to be a lot of buzz, how much money the movie made, but I want to make it always direct, that it's back to the survivors. So I would love to come up with some sort of video or message from survivors. And this is like what he had sent to everybody. And they then talk about not being invited to the premiere, and then Sony kind of pressuring Blake to agree, and them having different holding areas in theaters. And it's just sad that Justin was excluded from all the official celebrity. I know it's not about celebrities, but like the after parties.
To not have like your two main actors, like him and her together, and then he also is a director. Like, that's crazy. He's still the main actor in this film.
Yeah. And then it says, in the end, empowered by her celebrity firepower and her powerful allies, Blake did exactly what she was set out to do. She took someone else's movie for her own, destroying years of creative vision and carefully planning in service of her own brand building campaign. And, you can just, and then, they show pictures of Justin in the basement, and literally you look at the ceiling, they're on those like Costco water bottles, and it's so freaking sad. And then it was said, but so then it goes to this thing, like, it's like, why would Lively even seek to seize the power over the film? Why would she insist on taking additional work for no additional pay or credit? On information and belief, Lively may have been motivated by a number of factors. She may have wanted to seize control over the film so that she could take over the production of the sequel, It Starts With Us. This motivation also explains why the cast, who may have hoped and or been promised a role in the productions, would choose to side with a powerful couple who themselves may genuinely believe they could destroy Justin and Wayfair and force them to sell the rights to the sequel. Or Lively may have felt driven to match her star husband, Ryan Reynolds, who's widely reported to have insisted on taking so much control over the film Deadpool 2 that the director Tim Miller left the production because he said he cannot work with him because of how Ryan tried to take over the film. And what are you thinking about all that?
Yeah, I think it's crazy.
Yeah. They just talk about, like her, they show pictures now of her, in those outfits, and bring your florals and your friends. And then this dress is 30 years old, but it doesn't look a day over 25. Look at my jewelry, my rings. Like, she's obsessed with rings. So they're
putting this in a lawsuit. Like,
they show everything. Like her Instagram, girls' night out, it ends with us. Grab your florals. Look at all my borrowed ring pops. Like, they're literally just showing all of that. And so here's to the Sony team from Jamie. There's a little bit of it, but it goes, as you know, this has been, so we see there's noise and
chat. Like, this is the same person who has been responding on Sony's behalf, right? Like the name Jamie.
No, Jamie is the one who works in Wayfarers and the producer. And he's,
okay.
He's the one being sued by Blake for sexual harassment. He's the one with his wife.
Yeah.
It says, so we all see the noise and chatter regarding Justin and Blake and the cast. This is all crazy, but I'd like for us to take a look at that. Even in the midst of feuding, how many people are pointing out that the DV is being glossed over and that Justin is essentially the only one appreciating the subject matter. As you know, this has always been a concern of ours, and I think we might agree that there's enough response to at least consider giving it a bit more thought. We are open with great numbers, that this is a testament to the movie itself. And so, and then they say, like, sharing this post, and it's basically Blake Lively, they used It Ends With Us movie, the Instagram account, and they put Sony pictures. So they did a collab and it says, grab your friends, wear your floras. It Ends With Us is now playing. And Wayfair is like, why are we posting this? Like, why do you guys think this is acceptable? And then they have several articles of all the backlash that started on social media and how this happened without Justin's involvement, in that it was, again, the internet being the internet. It then says that Blake is embarrassed and enraged by the self-induced backlash, so she seeks to vilify Justin Baldoni in an attempt to fix her image. There's all this stuff with the PR. I don't care to go through it because we kind of did. And his PR, there's one thing that was interesting. So his PR and her PR, they agree not to say anything. And we see that her PR ends up breaching that. They show proof that Blake's PR, 9 minutes after telling his PR, they're not going to talk to reporters. There are texts of Blake's PR 9 minutes later feeding Daily Mail reporter, and Daily Mail reaches out to Justin's PR after speaking to Blake's PR and sends what Blake's PR did. And at this time, they don't even know. Daily Mail asked or Justin PR if they want to comment on this. At this point, they do not know that Blake's PR commented on this because they think that they're all in agreement. We're going to not comment on these things. And there's all text right now of her telling Daily Mail that the whole cast hates Justin. So Blake Lively's PR is doing this. Despite their agreement, this is Nathan, Justin's PR, he was completely unaware that Blake's PR has provided Daily Mail with information that significantly altered the narrative of the published story. Indeed, the reporter originally sought to publish a story about Blake being labeled difficult on set. After the reporter's discussion with Blake's PR, the story changed to, we have learned that Justin Baldoni caused issues on set. Not only did Blake's PR breach her agreement with Justin's PR, but she planted false and defamatory information about Baldoni to distract from Lively's numerous missteps and throw Wayfarers and Baldoni on the defense. Following the release of Lively's administrative complaint on December 20th, 24, the same Daily Mail reporter informed Justin's PR that Blake's PR had lied to portray Justin as the bad guy. Yet still, Blake's escalated the false narrative by telling the reporter that Blake was sexually assaulted a number of times. So they literally just sat there and keep feeding this.
What a nightmare, you guys. What a nightmare.
Well, why does she have the balls, though, to sit there and say that he was doing this when you guys, I'm not going to read all these, but in the lawsuit, it's showing all the Daily Mail reporter shared everything with Justin's team. He literally wrote, she said the whole cast hates Justin and it has nothing to do with Blake. And now she's saying that Blake was sexually assaulted. Why wouldn't she say this? Then that reporter shows all the text of them talking about Justin back in the day, but not mentioning anything about sexual harassment. He goes, dude, she knows she's full of shit. She told me that the whole issue was that everybody hates Justin. Nothing about Blake and Justin. She said it has nothing to do with Blake. Bullshit. Then they talk about Justin's former PR who turned on him for Blake. And honestly, I don't know. I don't care as much about the PR stuff, but it's obviously very important because Blake's whole argument is saying Justin planned his stories when we now have proof from this reporter at Daily Mail that it was all Blake's people doing. And I'm not going to go into the shady PR stuff, but I recommend people do look up the texts that were provided because they're wild. But let's move forward to the Ryan Reynolds. We're almost done. Ryan Reynolds and Blake.
Oh, you guys.
I know.
I hope you're still here and listening. Well, you guys are, because last time you guys ate this up. So
yeah.
Roxanne again. Have you taken a drink? Have you even drank some water?
No, I need to. Can I? That's why that's why I'm asking you though, what do you think? So I could have a chance to drink water.
Okay, we're going to take a moment for Roxanne to drink some water. Go ahead and drink some water, girl. You need it. And we thank you for your services of doing this all for us. And you guys, like she said, it was 180 pages and she really went through and read all of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to half-ass it. It says, let's move forward to the Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively threatening Justin Baldoni again. On August 12, 2024, Heath and Abel had a call with two executives from their talent agency. One admitted that the root of Lively's problem was focusing the promotion of the film on fabulous premiere day dresses, Hollywood glamour, and the commercial benefits for Lively's brands, while Baldoni had always maintained his public focus on amplifying the voices of domestic violence survivors. The executive communicated the demand from Lively and Reynolds that Wayfarer, Heath, and Baldoni Baldoni made a public apology that day, and that if they failed to do so, the gloves would come off. Stunningly, the executive even told Heath and Abel that Lively and Reynolds objected when Baldoni spoke kindly of Lively in public, claiming that it misrepresented their relationship. So now they didn't want him to speak good about her. They're saying, why is he speaking good about Blake? Because that's not where their relationship was.
Yes.
You guys,
this is so wild.
I can't. It says the talent agency
I really can't keep up. How are they keeping up?
I don't know. I'm sure this has been a very stressful thing. It says the talent agency executive told Heath and Abel that Lively believed Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath were waging a shadow campaign against her. The second executive admitted on the call that no one pushes back on Lively and Reynolds. The next day on August 13th, Abel and Heath had another call with the talent agency. During this call, one executive told Heath that the agency had spoken to Blake and Ryan by phone about the overwhelming tide of negative publicity that they had faced over the past days. Heath clarified that Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath had no connection to the negative publicity, but they told Heath that Blake and Ryan had demanded that Wayfarer pull out a statement accepting blame for the problems during filming, with an express threat that they themselves would attack Wayfarer in the press if Wayfarer refused. Here's the thing. When all this shit was happening at the premiere, yes, people were saying some of the scenes were whatever, but people were so mad about how she was handling press. So what the hell did that have anything to do with what was happening on set? Like, I don't get the correlation.
No, I know. I don't either.
So they wanted Wayfarer to take accountability for the problems in production. Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath would have to acknowledge their own mistakes and own all the negativity being aimed at Blake and Ryan. Abel and Heath asked that the executives—
and Ryan, get out. Like, why? You're not even a part of it. And the only reason you are, they're figuring out like what a piece of shit you are.
He's a terrible actor. He's never even— I don't even know what the hell why like he even got to become a B-lister. I really don't understand. He's never won anything. Anyways, so Abel and Heath asked the executives to clarify what exactly that they had to apologize for, and they're just simply upset by how social media had turned against them. Stunningly, the executive admitted that Lively and Reynolds brought the backlash on themselves, but they were beyond reasoning with. He admitted that making constant threats with Lively and Reynolds was well known. And then they show— I'm going all the way down now, so I apologize, Chantel.
There's just so many conflicts of interest here, and it's just so crazy, like all of it.
It says when plaintiffs refused to take the fall for Blake's disastrous promotional campaign, Blake was true to her word. The gloves were off. Months after the film's premiere on December 21st, that's when the bombshell article came out. And they did apparently warn Justin that gloves would come off. And then they show all the text messages that Blake's camp edited out and how she cut out Justin's PR, denying any involvement with the bad press story. And so here's how the lawsuit ends, okay? I'm going to page 168 now. So the lawsuit ends with— at bottom, this case is a simple one. Blake used her power to steal a movie from its director and production studio. Then she held them hostage to her incessant demands by extortionate threats to destroy what they had left. All while she failed to understand the heart and soul of the movie she stole and the book it was based on, let alone the intensely personal impact the book had on a million worldwide. When her thoughtless promotion fell flat because they focused on flowery glamour and cross-merchandising opportunities for her own brand, rather than centering the voices of survivors, she finally got a taste of accountability, and she did not care for it. She made one final demand to plaintiffs that they finally and forever fall on the sword for her by apologizing for things that they had not done, killing their future prospects in the process. When they refused, defendants' gloves came off, and they used their power and resources to try to take plaintiffs down for good by coordinating with these PR people, and they nearly pulled it off too. And then it just like says like what they're suing for, the cost, all that stuff. That is the end of the lawsuit. What do we think?
Holy shit.
Yeah. What do you think?
Holy shit. I think Ryan Reynolds got jealous. His ego's too big. It made Blake's ego too big, and they just wanted to control the whole thing.
Yeah. I just think that she's a disgusting person and that she needs to absolutely be canceled. There's no apologies at this point. But I want you guys to know that following this lawsuit, Blake did not back down at all, just so you know. Did you see her statement that she made?
No, what did she say?
So after this $400 million lawsuit, She said she's not backing down from Justin Baldoni's legal challenge. She says his $400 million lawsuit is straight out of the abuser playbook. Blake's legal team responded to Justin's lawsuit Thursday with this statement saying, "This is an age-old story. A woman speaks up with concrete evidence of sexual harassment and retaliation, and the abuser attempts to turn the tables on the victim. This is what experts call DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim offender."
That's you, honey. That's you.
You guys, she's gaslighting us to believe there's concrete evidence that she did not give in her lawsuit.
Where is the smoking gun? Like, where is the smoking gun? I need to see it. I need to see what she has on him. Where is it? And what is it?
Yeah. It says Lively's team says Justin and his production company are pulling out all the stops to try and overwhelm the public's ability to understand that what they are doing is retaliation against sexual harassment allegations. Do you think we're stupid? Do you think we're dumb? Like, please don't speak for us and what they're trying to do to us. We read your side. We read his side. This is the conclusion we've come to. And then let me see. Blake's legal team pushed back, saying they are trying to shift the narrative to Miss Lively by falsely claiming that she sees. Okay, see, this is why we all know. This is why we can't take it serious, because she's saying that they're falsely claiming she sees creative control and alienated the cast for Mr. Baldoni. But that's exactly what the evidence is showing.
Yep, exactly.
She says the evidence will show that.
Her picture of this is literally so different. Yeah. So different.
He says the evidence will show that the cast and others had their own negative experience with Mr. Baldoni and Wayfarer. The evidence will also show that Sony asked Miss Lively to oversee Sony's cut of the film, which then selected for distribution and was a resounding success. Everyone complained about the movie, babe. Everyone complained about the movie. That was your take. Every single person complained about it. So what are you even saying right now? Yes, it was a success. People watched it because of Colleen Hoover, because they had read the book.
Yeah, we didn't watch it because of you.
We didn't know until like later on, after it came on in those weeks, that there were big problems, and we wanted to support Justin Baldoni, who directed the film and acted in the film. Okay, so the fact that she sits there and she has the balls to respond that way and still take no accountability, and then say that he falsely accused her of doing that, Chantel, I am so fucking scared right now. I'm scared.
So scared. The only thing I also saw, like, I don't know what this means to anything, but someone's like, Ryan Reynolds just bought this like this soccer team. So do you think that they're like trying to like hide money?
No, okay. I don't know why. I don't get that.
I don't know, like to like say that they don't have money. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. But she's talking about the cast, but then we saw a cast of young Lily praising him. So here's what Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, said after Blake's dumbass response. I'm sorry, you guys are seeing a feisty iPad before Roxanne, because I just cannot take this stuff. And it says, after my clients filed a comprehensive lawsuit packed with almost 200 pages of undeniable facts and documentary evidence, which crushed their false allegations of a smear campaign by providing doctored communication to the New York Times, Blake and our legal team have just one heinous pivot left, and that is to double down on the revolting false sexual allegations against Mr. Baldoni. And I'm like, yes. And what else does it say? It says Lively was just determined to make Baldoni the real life villain in her story. And it really all came down to her tone deaf promotion in the film It Ends With Us. So that was his response. He says the latest lawsuit from, hold on. Oh, okay. I think that's all that he said. Yeah. Yep, I think that's all. Yeah, that's all that he's saying. So, I mean, I want this to go to court, and I need justice to be served.
I know Candace Owens is problematic sometimes, but a lot of people kept sending us her take on it.
A lot of people who don't agree with Candace Owens were like, this is the one thing I will agree with Candace Owens, and Candace Owens is going hard on.
Is she going hard on Blake?
Of course she is. Yes.
Whoa. Why? Yeah. You think that she always goes against the girl?
No, I don't think that she's going against the girl. I think that she's seeing what we're all seeing, that this girl is like lying about something and using the fact that she's like this like blonde, blue-haired woman who was a victim in all of this. Like, I think that's exactly what she's doing. I mean, so I don't know. By the way, it also says Justin Baldoni's team developed a website for fans to read messages from Blake Lively's lawsuit. They are developing a website that will make it easier for fans to understand this lawsuit. And
we got you, fans. We got you. Just listen to this podcast. You will understand it all.
Justin Baldoni was seen out, by the way. Oh, wow. Okay. 4 hours ago, there is a picture of Justin having a blast on the beach in Hawaii, and he's all smiles. So live your best life.
You thrive, boo-boo.
Yeah, keep
You
thriving.
thrive with those $400 million Mai Tais that you might be drinking.
Yeah, I know. And there's something that says Blake Lively's official response to Justin Baldoni's lawsuit is that it will fail. Yeah, she's just saying that.
So what's next? Like, what's next? Like, basically, we have to wait and to see if she countersues him because she hasn't sued him.
She did end up suing him because she got so much backlash for just like doing a complaint through New York Times.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So the one thing that Justin Baldoni said is that he had everything on the film and the mic, so they will bring that to court. And so another thing,
course, sweetie.
Yeah. And another thing that her people said was their response to sexual harassment allegations is basically saying she wanted it. It's her fault. Their justification for why this happened to her. Look what she was wearing. In short, while a victim focuses on the abuse, the abuser focuses on the victim. The strategy of attacking the woman is desperate. It does not refute the evidence in Miss Lively's complaint, and it will fail. I just don't like the gaslighting where they're like, we had concrete evidence. And I'm just like, where was the concrete evidence?
Yeah,
like, why are you guys saying that? There was no concrete evidence. So where was it? And then a source said that she still believes she's doing the right thing. She's ready to tackle whatever comes her way. Get ready, Blake. It doesn't matter. You're done. She's done.
I don't see their relationship like handling this. I just don't.
Blake and Ryan?
Yeah, I don't.
Wow. What do you mean? You think like they will go through Splitsville?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think
because
that
they
have 4 kids, Chantal. I can't see that. Because like, first off, Holly Weird doesn't even have kids typically. And for them to have 4, I cannot see them split. But also I thought they were normal. I thought their sarcastic ways were like not woke. I thought because they were sarcastic with each other, because sometimes there's too woke. And I thought because they were sarcastic with each other, they get jokes and they could laugh at themselves. But that was all a facade. It was all bullshit.
Yeah,
so,
like they post pictures of each other looking ugly.
Yeah, like ugly. Like that's hilarious. Like, you know, and now I knew it was all bullshit and they were like trying to be funny, but they're actually like super sensitive and super woke. And I'm like, you guys are all Holly Weird. So actually me saying that you aren't going to get divorced because you have 4 kids, like that means nothing to them. Never mind.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I mean, I hope they don't get divorced, of course.
Yeah,
but.
of course. Like, of course, no one wants that. But
I just like that. I mean, Ryan's reputation is done, especially them highlighting Tim Miller.
That's where I think that there can be like issues because all of this movie, like I'm sure there's so much behind in the closed doors. Like, I told you not to do this movie, or like, why did you give a shit? Or like, why did you do this? And like now there's so much happening because of this freaking movie.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's crazy, you guys. I can't breathe.
Yeah, wow. Round of applause. Thank you so much, Rexy.
We did it. Did we all make it? Let me know. You guys know I need some, what is it? Like attention. Oh, validation.
Yes.
I need some validation. Let me know if you made it to here. Are you still listening? I probably would have cut it off if I were you guys, but if you're still listening, I cannot breathe. We were supposed to record this last night and we knew it was going to be a long one. So we were both like, let's not. But you know what's a good thing, you guys?
You know what I was doing, by the way, half the time? I was responding to at least like 150 DMs on our Instagram during this.
We have an interview with
a lot
Anthony.
of them. I was like, part 3 coming out. Roxanne's going on. She's still going on. 2.5 hours later, she's still going on.
Yeah. Well, Chantel, we are going to, not for our Patreon, but for our regular members, we're going to split this episode into 2. And then we have an interview with Anthony. Yes. So tomorrow, but I am so screwed tomorrow with all 4 of my kids being home, but we'll figure it out. Roxanne always figures it out. So yes, we hope it's not as cold where you're at. We're at negative today. And you guys, I need to take a break. I still need a blog. So I think that's all I got left in me.
Well, thank you so much. And we hope you guys enjoyed this. You know, it's very interesting and more to come when there's more to come out. And I hope that if they do go to court, Rexian, you could be there. We could fly you out and you could.
Chantal, wait, can we?
Yes, we will fly you out. No, I will fly you out. I will let you sit in that courtroom and listen to everything.
Wow, that would be so cool.
Actually, I think you would go to jail because you'd interrupt the thing.
Wait, can I do that? Oh my gosh, can someone help me research this? Someone tell me if I can do this because I really want to do it. I mean,
It's
my
only
husband
if,
will
like, you're
definitely,
pressed.
like,
Like sometimes if you're pressed, you can get inside. If it's a closed one.
Are we pressed? I feel like we're pressed. We're pressed,
Yeah,
right?
we're pressed
No?
for sure.
Okay, well, let's do our best because we're reporting on this anyways. So, all right. Well, we love you guys. Hope you guys have a fantastic week and stay warm. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.